Haha, ladies and gentlemen, we snuck in early, a couple of minutes early, just to fool you all, because Lisa's born ready, weren't you?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, born ready. And yeah, we've just been having a discussion in the background about according to whom, on the basis of what.
I actually use that a lot when people say, like, they make a claim. I'll always ask, I'll say your line, according to who and on the basis of what.
That'll be a bit of a giveaway, though. For anyone that watches me, they'll go, she listens to that bald guy from New Zealand. Yeah. It's a good one, though, I mean, because it really does, it encompasses the whole gambit of the problem, doesn't it? It's like, okay, somebody that wants to spout something at you as being an absolutely inviolate fact. Studies show, great. Which studies? Perhaps you'd like to cite one or two of those studies so that we can have a look at them to see whether they really do say what you suggest they say. And often they don't. So what I was proposing that I'm putting together a course where I'm going to be like instructing, I guess, how to read literature and find the faults in it. And I'm also going to be running some kind of private behind the scenes tutelage as a public service to people who I think have got the right attitude and the right amount of smarts and etc. And so that's coming up.
Wow, interesting.
So let's see who's in the house, just because why not? What? No guest? Well, yes, she's right here. Say hello.
Hello.
Yes. Oh, look, you're a delightful girl.
Thank you.
Actually, she's 18, so she's a woman.
Yeah, woman.
Yeah. And then that was where the question about the Yahtzee came from that we were talking about beforehand. Oh, dear, oh dear. How did we become friends? How did that happen? It's a long story.
I messaged you, yeah.
Saying, can I come on your channel? And I said, hell yes. I'm always for people young or old coming on my channel who know what they're talking about, who want to help promote the right thing. And if we can encourage more young people, so much the better, because that's where the future is, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. All right. Do we have any questions, team? Just while we go through who's in the house. The feral grandma's here as usual. Yes, Daniel's here. Good to see you, Daniel, from New York. Very good. There you go. Apparently, if you like free speech, you're a Yahtzee or something that rhymes with it. Good, good. It's just a little joke between friends. I'm not really. Yeah. Ted is a bit on that, though. He's a bit of a disciplinarian. Dean's here. Good to see you, Dean. Mr. Beaumont's in the house. Carnivore is the best. You're right. Jennifer's here. Good to see you. Hello, class. How I missed the camouflage training. You were not seen at the camouflage training. To which there's only one really appropriate response, isn't there? Thank you, sir. Not seen at the camouflage. Never mind. Ted is probably around. I would imagine Ted would be around. Ted is always around. Ted sees all. Morning, troops. We will have to get you, actually, one of these days, Lisa, into the full meat militia camouflage uniform. I reckon that would be just the thing.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds awesome.
There's only, of course, 2 ways that we can achieve that. 3 ways. I just thought of a third. 1, we order you some kit and send it to your house in some other part of the world. 2, you come here. That would be brave. Others have done it and survived, frankly. Or I can't even remember what 3 was now. Doesn't matter. You know. Good evening, Bev. The idea of a class on how to inform people how to critically read the studies is a fantastic idea. Yeah, I've actually started already. There's 3 or 4 lessons up there. I was going to do them weekly. A couple of months ago, we had 1 or 2 problems around here on the farm, and that's kind of put paid to that for a bit. But I'm just about ready to start cracking back on with that again. And I'm thinking, not only do I make these instructional videos, maybe I get a co-conspirator to do part of it as well. So if there's somebody out there who might be keen, do you know anyone, Lisa?
I might have to think.
You might have to think, because it's quite a taxing thing. That's not really. It's not really right. Question, very good. We love questions. Very good. That only took how many minutes to get a question? 5 minutes of us waffling, or me waffling on to fill the gap. Right now I can relax. We've got questions. Good. Here it is. If my understanding is correct, that inflammation signals an immune response, would taking Reactive affect how many stem cells are attracted to the site? Take Stem Enhance, Plasma Flow, and Reactive. Okay. I've got some answers to that, and I can chime in with some answers to that after Lisa's had a crack at it, because I think that's what we're here to do, to let Lisa have a crack at the questions and answers.
I'm not too sure about this one, to be honest.
That's a great answer. That's an awesome answer. Like, people are inclined to make shit up when they don't know the answer.
Yeah.
And I'm very pleased that you didn't. Awesome. All right. So, yes, inflammation is one of the things that signals immune responses attracting stem cells. Acute inflammation at the time of an insult to your body is indicated of utility, and your body should do it, and it does. The cereal anti-inflammatory product is geared around the fact that most people living in Western societies subject their bodies to a lifestyle that leads them to chronic inflammation, which A, blunts the response because you're always in that state, and B, is contraindicated because of all the sequelae involved in inflammatory processes, such as type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes, other immune dysfunctions per se, heart disease, most forms of dementia, aging in general, all of those things. So we're not suggesting that attenuating acute inflammation when it's indicated is what we're trying to do here. We're not. And as an example of that, when people say to me, I have a soft tissue injury, I've turned my ankle over or something like that, my first comment to them is, I hope they didn't apply rest, ice, compression, and elevation. The absolute thing that they will have done straight away. As soon as you injure yourself, rest, ice, compression, and elevation. RICE, they call it. No, bad idea. Why would we start immediately working against the body's natural inclination to become inflamed and swollen when you injure your ankle, for example? Leave that alone. Anyways, there it is. Thank you, sir. Yes, not seen at the camouflage training. Thank you, sir. Good. This is the camouflage training for those that aren't up to speed on that. Any of my videos are referred to colloquially as the camouflage training. Oh, we've got the fun and games with the chat window jumping around all over the place like it used to do. Like I managed to get it to stop doing, and now it's doing it again. Fun and games. Then we're going to find our place again. All right, here it is. Very good. Here's a question, but without the question on the front of it. Put a capital Q and a colon so that Ted can see that it's a question. How do you go about determining how much sodium, potassium, and magnesium you should consume a day plus water? Lisa, go.
So for the water, I'm a big believer in just drink when you're thirsty. Don't force it a lot of the time, because it will just throw off your electrolytes a lot of the times. Like your body sends thirst signals for a reason, so just listen to them. Don't force yourself to gulp down a gallon of water, which now is kind of recommended nowadays. As for sodium, potassium, and magnesium, I would say for sodium, just salt to taste. A lot of the time I find that it is not completely necessary to supplement with magnesium or potassium. And if you're just salting your food enough and properly, you shouldn't really have an issue. Or with like a good sea salt that has trace minerals.
Perfect. Absolutely agree. Yes. At the end of the day, we have evolved, our brains have evolved a means of communicating with us that's not language based, because your brain doesn't have a language per se. That's an invention. But your brain does have a way of telling you when you're thirsty and when you're not. It's called thirst and unthirst, if you like. The same deal with salt. If you fancy salt, it probably means you need it. And if you don't fancy salt, it means you probably don't at that time. Once you've been clean of carbohydrates and other sorts of plant-based toxins and things that throw those instincts off, once you've been clear of that for a couple of months, those instincts are real good. Trust your body. It knows what it's doing.
Very true.
Rexman has been looking into the various saturated fats. The various ones. How important is it to consume all the saturated fats? You mean the different chain links, I guess? Can we produce them all on our own? Any disadvantages to our body doing it? All right. What do you think about that one?
I'm not sure about the different types. I know, like, are we talking like cholesterol, stearic acid? Because our body can produce like some cholesterol on its own, but it's more beneficial to just consume more of it.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add to that. Yeah.
My guess on the question is that Rex is referring to the different chain lengths of saturated fats, like short chain, medium chain, long chain. In terms of short chain fatty acids, what generally happens is either a person has a microbiome that's breaking down an amount of fiber because that person's eating an amount of fiber, and that produces some short chain fatty acid, usually butyric, which is then immediately enzymatically changed into beta hydroxybutyrate. Sound familiar? That's a ketone body.
Yeah. BH.
So the other way that people get short chain fatty acids is by producing ketones, which is another reason why you don't need any fiber in your diet.
Exactly.
Because you can still produce the same. The medium chain ones, various different chain links. There's all sorts of theories out there about, different chain links being optimal for this, that, or the other thing. And yes, your body can both shorten and elongate fatty acid chains if it really needs to. I'm not convinced about any huge benefits of any particular chain links. I think it's a bit of a marketing ploy. People want to sell you a product that contains a certain chain length because that chain length is absolutely optimal for X, Y, or Z. Don't know. Cool. I hope that gets to the question, Rex, man. If not, have another go. Be a bit more explicit. Howdy all. Howdy. Question. Dealt with some back issues which led to surgery and fell off carnivore. I need to kick start back. Okay. Is it better to start by fasting to help reset? And if so, for how long? What would you do in that situation if you've hurt yourself and you fell off the wagon?
Well, I've done that quite a few times, and I find for myself that fasting is a good reset because it, is much easier to get back into ketosis that way and to just flush everything out of your system, have like a good reset. And also if you do it for like a prolonged period, probably like 36 plus maybe 48 hours, then it can actually give your body some time to repair maybe from the damage that was caused when you fell back off, and to actually get itself ready, like kick in some autophagy, myophagy, some stem cell, human growth hormone. And I'd say for how long until you feel like you need to eat or like you genuinely need to. A lot of the time, like it gets super easy past the 36, 48 hours mark, and just listen to your own hunger hormones.
Yeah, love it. Super duper. What do you think of high meat, fermented meat? Family Guy clip number 89 eats it regularly and shares it with his teddy bear Rupert. All good.
I mean, if you enjoy it, if you really, really enjoy the taste of rotten fermented meat, then I mean, who am I to say that you shouldn't consume it? But I don't know. I feel like there's more downside than upside to that, in my opinion.
Yep.
And
for me,
sound too appealing.
No, from where I sit, that's the issue for me. I don't have any necessarily huge problems with eating high fermented / rotten meat. If a person is into that, likes that, whatever, and feels that it's good for them in some way, I don't have a problem with that. My issue with it is my instincts tell me that is revolting.
Me too. I think for
couldn't,
most people,
I would be literally gipping.
I would throw.
Oh my God, I couldn't do it. It's revolting.
Yeah.
I have no desire to do that, and I can't see any benefit in doing it. So why would you? But hey, you do you. Cool whip.
Yeah, you do you.
Yeah, that's it. What would you tell someone who is adamant that seed oils are inflammatory and not good for us in order to change their mind? Why would I want to change their mind? Would you want to change their mind, Lisa?
I mean, probably, but it's not going to do much, especially most of the people that hold the argument, they don't actually want their mind to be changed. They don't have an open mind. So 99% of the time, there's no point to even try.
Yep.
Unless it's someone who's like actually close to you and who's personally, you know, getting harmed from eating this, then I wouldn't even bother.
I agree with that too, with the caveat that actually someone that's closer to you is even harder to convince than someone who isn't. I found, like family members, the problem with me trying to tell my family members anything, for example, is they know me. They know me my whole life. Yeah. They've seen me at my worst. And they know exactly, you know, everything about everything already, don't they, of course? Yeah. So... yeah, but I wouldn't want to change anyone's mind that would tell me that seed oils are inflammatory, because they absolutely do have that potentiality. They absolutely can be. And
maybe bring up just the linoleic acid concentration and how it's like super high in omega-6. It's going to lead to inflammation.
Exactly. So like polyunsaturates, like omega-6, tend to upregulate two parallel inflammatory pathways, and as such, inherently, all things else being equal, in isolation, as a reductionist statement about this and that, you would say that therefore these kind of oils absolutely have the potential to lead to inflammation if there aren't other offsetting factors that prevent that from occurring. And sometimes there are offsetting parameters that stop the inflammation from occurring, and sometimes there are not. And the inflammation goes right ahead. So there it is. Your mileage will vary, is what I'm saying. What are your thoughts on humans having learned many skills and basic technologies from Homo Neanderthalis being more advanced than imagined?
I don't know my thoughts on that. I'm not sure I've actually like thought about how Neanderthals have really evolved. I don't know, in depth. What about you, Bart? Do you think about this?
Not a lot. I mean, I have contacts, friends, clients who like to talk to me about, you know, ancient hominids, humans and human-like cousins that we had that have all died out now. And how smart they may or may not have been, the technologies they may or may not have possessed, the whole idea that aliens built the pyramids. You know, there's all sorts of ideas out there. There are still some people running around saying the earth is flat.
Yeah.
You know, or cholesterol's bad for you. Okay. You know, that kind of nonsense. Good evening. Good evening, Lions Carnivore podcast. Podcast? Have you got a podcast? Is it good? Do you know this podcast, Lisa?
I don't know.
No? Okay. Well, if you've got a good podcast and it gets good audience sizes and you want some people that want to come and talk to you about carnivore on your podcast, I'm available. Are you available, Lisa?
Depends.
Exactly. Depends. You wouldn't just hang out and slum it with anybody, would you?
Yeah. No.
No. Good. She's discerning and mature and sensible. When am I going to carb the fuck up? Dear oh dear. Dear oh dear. No, I'm not going to be doing that. Well, I say I'm not going to be doing that. I have been doing that a bit by default. Well, my sister's living here with two nieces and a nephew, and they're not carnivores and never have been carnivores. In fact, they are your typical carb family. And of course, my sister's been making all the stuff my mum used to make. And so it was like, oh, yes, I'll have that just today, just today. And that's been going on for several weeks now. I've actually got to get my act together because it's starting to show up. Interestingly, it's like maybe 5 pounds has gone on straight away in 2 or 3 weeks. My skin's turned to shit. Aches and pains. I feel arthritic and old, and I'm like, I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll sort that out. And then on top of that, of course, not only is my sister and 2 nieces and a nephew here doing all of that, my mum's here. So she's doing it too. Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love you all, by the way, family. Love you all. Yeah. Anyways. Right. $5. Love it. That'll keep Ted happy for a few minutes. Can you please set Sarah Zaldivar straight? I'd love to, and I probably will. She's an idiot. She's an absolute imbecile. I've done several collaborative videos, interviews, even question and answer sessions, I think, with her in the past, before she lost her mind completely. She's one of, for those that don't know, she's one of those who was sensible, carnivorous, and was doing it right and saying the right things about it, and then suddenly decided, no, we must all eat carbohydrates.
That's
so I just cannot get my head around. Question. One of the arguments I've heard against a no-carb diet is that oxidation of glucose requires about 12% less oxygen per ATP created than that of fat. Wouldn't that make carbs better on that front? Lisa, go.
I'm not sure about this one.
That's cool. That's fine.
Have a
go.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I will.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm trying to dig for this piece of information I remember from biology class a few months ago. But isn't it more efficient for fat for ATP than glucose, because you can create more ATP from fat than glucose, something like?
Absolutely, per molecule.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, the pathway leading to the complete oxidation of glucose and fatty acids of a given chain length produce completely different numbers of ATP molecules. But that's because the molecule itself had a completely different number of available carbon skeletons for that purpose in the first place. One of the arguments I've heard against the no-carb diet is that oxidation of glucose requires about 12% less oxygen. Well, okay, let's look at that logically. When you are sitting around at rest, as Lisa and I are right now, not exerting ourselves, doing anything physically demanding, the air around us is 21.09% oxygen, and we breathe that into our lungs, and gas exchange occurs at the lungs, and we absorb oxygen out of that air, and that is transported around our bodies to do things like react with substrates to make ATP, among other things. And then we breathe out, and the gas that we breathe out of our lungs has a different gas makeup to the air that we breathed in, because we've used oxygen and produced carbon dioxide. Here's the thing, though. You're probably going to breathe out 18 or 19% oxygen at rest. So you breathe in 21% and you breathe out 18 or 19. So there goes that argument, isn't it? Oh, yes, but what about during exercise when the oxygen requirement is much higher?
Don't we use anaerobic while we're exercising?
That's another discussion for another day, and we can absolutely have that. But here's the thing. That number of the oxygen tension being breathed out at the end of a peak maximal volitional exhaustion test, a ramp test of exhaustion, a VO2 max test, you're still breathing out 15 or 16% oxygen at that time. The way we extract more oxygen during exercise is to breathe more gas through our lungs per unit time. not by extracting more of the oxygen that's available. So at no time, under any circumstances, during any normal function in human life, is there, in effect, a shortage of oxygen available for use. So that argument becomes null and void. How cool is that? Say it's really
Very cool. It is
there you
very
go.
cool.
I knew you'd say that. Good. All right. When I eat fresh, raw fish, God, why would you do that? And bathe?
What is bathe?
I don't know. When I eat raw fish
Maybe
and
beef.
bathe,
I don't
and
know.
beef, is it?
Maybe.
I don't know. That as my OMAD, I feel way lighter and it feels like I digest it better compared to beef. So you think you are having less difficulty absorbing fish than beef? That's interesting. Is beef so important that you should be 80% of your diet? Okay. What do you think, Lisa?
I think that it's very important to have beef as like the primary source of food for your diet, just because, first of all, we evolved on beef, and also surviving on fish rather than meat would just not be optimal in any case, because it's not as nutrient dense. It's like much higher in polyunsaturated fats. You know, it doesn't have enough cholesterol and saturated fats, and just like the ratios of everything isn't what you need to survive. Whether like when in beef, it is like you could live off of ground beef and you'd probably live a very like healthy life. But fish, I'm not sure about that.
What about iron?
Huh?
Iron in fish is much lower.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's a good point as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Awesome. Brilliant answer. Can I damage my thyroid with too much fasting?
I think I did it. What is too much fasting? I mean, I'm sure you can damage your thyroid, but what is too much fasting, you know?
Exactly. Too much of anything can cause a problem. How much is too much? How much did you do? Why do you think you damaged your thyroid? And as such, what do we think we should do about putting it right? I guess in short, the short answer to your question is exactly what Lisa said. Well, sure, it's possible. We probably need a bit more information. So the question before about seed oils was,
I assume that's what they meant.
Says, okay, all right. Yeah. In which case, I would want to change their minds, because to say they are not inflammatory minimizes or indeed ignores / refutes their capacity to absolutely be inflammatory. I'm not a fan of absolutes either way. This absolutely is inflammatory or it absolutely is not, because it's the dose on any poison that makes the poison, isn't it? I guess so. Good morning from Victoria, Australia. Lamb chops for breakfast. Awesome.
Love lamb chops. One of my favorite foods for sure. They're so good. Oh my God.
Yep. All right. Correction. What would you do? Yeah, okay, we've dealt with that.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, very good. Okay. Next question. Is a month adequate time to transition off the carbs for new starters? What's the fastest time to roughly get away with it for the impatient folks?
I mean, depending on what you're eating, I'd say if you're impatient, then like I'm also impatient. So what I would do is just fast and then get right into it. It's definitely a harder transition to go straight into it, and not as pleasant, but you can, if you're the type of person to work like overnight cold turkey, you can do it, but just get ready. It might not be as smooth.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say a month is fine. A month, maybe 6 weeks. I used to say 4 to 8 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks or something, but these days it seems like maybe a bit shorter is in general okay. I want it to be very safe in the first instance. And in terms of what's the quickest time to do it to get away with it, well, your mileage will vary. There are some people who can just change their diet completely overnight and not have any ill effects. They're the kind of people I refer to as hateful bastards, personally. People that get away with whatever and there's no problem. People that drink heavily and wake up the next morning and they're all full of the joys of spring. I'm like, shut up. The least you could do is pretend to be suffering. Right. Anyway, any chance of copper or folate deficiency from eating mostly muscle meat long term, especially since zinc intake is high relative to copper? I've heard a copper to zinc ratio of around 1 to 10, I should say, is ideal. There's a few threads there. Let's see what Lisa does with those.
First of all, about the ratio, it's like according to who? I'm not really sure about. Like maybe
According
that's
to
true.
on the basis of what?
Like of what? Like the
Yes.
ratio, I don't know. Because like do we humans really need to be tracking our ratio, making sure that it's an ideal copper to zinc? No, I think you shouldn't develop any deficiencies if you're eating muscle meat. I haven't heard of anyone who has, and it has everything that you need.
Yep. People are obsessed with ratios, numbers,
Yeah.
labs, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
I always like to bring people back to affect. How do you feel? What are you seeing around you in terms of how others are apparently feeling? Are people falling over left, right, and center for copper deficiencies? You know, no. Is there any chance? Well, of course. It's a very open-ended question. Any chance? Well, yes. It's a non-zero probability. Is it likely if you eat a diet consisting purely of the muscle meat of large ruminants mostly? No. I haven't seen any evidence of that. And I haven't seen anybody else collecting any evidence of that and publishing it anywhere either. So, okay. Nice to stream with you on Wednesday, Lisa, says Andrew R.
Nice to see you here, yeah.
Hello, Andrew R. Clearly, I haven't been clear, Lisa. You can't have other friends. Sorry. Was I not clear?
I apologize.
Also, people that come and visit Pimbatia, they think they're leaving at the end. Dear, oh dear. This is the Hotel California here. Right. Why does carnivore help with hypothalamic amenorrhea? Well, let's see what Lisa thinks about that.
I actually struggled with that for like over a year, and carnivore did help me a lot. It's because hypothalamic amenorrhea, it's mostly like you don't have enough progesterone to actually menstruate. And what is progesterone made out of? Cholesterol. So the more saturated fat you eat, then the more progesterone your body will be able to make and get ready for menstruation. So I would say you really have to up the fat if you're struggling with that. And just for that, I would say you definitely need to be doing more fat than protein significantly. Like just pile on as much butter, tallow, fat as you want.
Absolutely. In a female population, those that are athletically or even worse, just for looks, attempting to get extremely low levels of body fat, very often these women are running into problems with their cycle for exactly the reasons that Lisa's talking about, i.e. not enough fat to lead to not enough production of not enough hormones to drive that cycle. And so a lot of people might go, well, so what? What's the problem of not having a cycle? Well, there are several.
Yeah.
Including, well, do you know what they are, Lisa? You can tell us.
I know there's like increased risk of osteoporosis.
Correct.
Just most like cancer, even I've heard, and just like your body won't be able to function as well properly. You're also infertile, which is, I think, a big problem in itself, because that means that your body doesn't feel safe to actually, carry a child.
Yeah. Altogether, it's a bad thing. So
you definitely want a cycle.
Yeah, and it just seems to me to be a thing that doesn't enjoy a lot of support in terms of other than some people's views around what is aesthetically best, because not everybody agrees. Actually, some there are a wide range of views from those who say, what should a woman look like? But anyway, there's that, and then there are those that say, well, it's for sporting, power to weight ratio for sporting purposes. Well, okay, but is it worth potentially destroying an entire lifespan for what's ostensibly a very short period of that lifespan being a competitive athlete? Because you can't do that for a long time. Don't know. Anyway, since we don't consume calories, how would you go about losing body fat on a carnivore diet if it's not being in a caloric deficit? Would you decrease overall food volume? Would you play with fat to protein ratios, etc.? Right, Lisa, go. Tell us all about the calories.
So, I would never tell anyone to do a calorie deficit or to decrease their overall food volume over time, or even play around with the fat and protein ratio, because all that's going to do is lead to, if you're thinking of trying to do high protein, low fat to lose weight, you're just going to end up feeling like crap, like almost every single time after maybe a week. And then you're just going to gain everything back. With the decreasing your food volume, you're just going to crash your metabolism after a few weeks. So the best way to do it, and I think the only way that people should be doing it, is through fasting, because it's just beneficial in so many ways. Like I've talked about it before, it's good for preserving muscle, way better than a calorie deficit or whatever energy deficit would. It's like overall the best course that you can do. Just fast a few times a week, or do extended fasts maybe once every few weeks, and the weight should start to drop better.
Yeah, agreed. I'm also a real fan of hypertrophy training for those that want to recomp their bodies. There's nothing like putting on a very small amount of muscle mass to melt off a large amount of fat.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Why does that work? How does that work? Having more muscle leads to having less fat.
I know that having more muscle mass just requires more energy from like your body.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Yeah. So when you have muscles at rest, what those muscles do is pump ions in and out of the muscle in such a way as to set up a resting membrane potential, so that that muscle will react to a nerve impulse to contract. And over time, those ions leak back through the membranes. And so you have to consistently and persistently pump ions to keep the right concentration gradients at rest. So that's a 24/7, 365 issue. And muscle tissue is amongst the most metabolically active tissue in the body. Surpassed really only by nervous cells, brain cells, nerve cells, that kind of thing, pretty much. So, and given that you can't sort of do exercise to grow more nerve tissue to speak of, and you certainly can build more muscle, that would be the obvious approach for me. Love it. So Diane just ate her way through 18 days on the North Island. Wow. I was born and bred in the North Island. I'm a North Island boy. But I can tell you, if you don't do the South Island when you come to New Zealand, you are missing the whole point. The North Island's great. It's lovely. But the South Island is where it's at. You need to be down here, Diane. Love the meat. Yes, New Zealand meat is amongst the best in the world, absolutely. Mostly because it's grass-fed all year round. We don't have so much grain feed, and because our winters are much more mild than they are up in places like, well, Canadastan, I should say. Not enough fat. Okay, well, you should. Oh, that's the thing, though, isn't it? Like, if you get meat from the supermarket or whatever, they will have trimmed off most of the fat before they put it in those polystyrene trays and put plastic over the top of it. There's these funky little shops around the place you can go to, and people should. They're called a butcher shop. And you can ask for what you want. And the butchers will usually do it for you. Yes, it is a beautiful country. And yes, the North Island is beautiful. You're right. But the South Island will knock your socks off. Anyone thinking of coming to New Zealand, you must come to the South Island. And selected invitees might be allowed to come to Pimbatia. So long as you realize you're never leaving. Just a little joke. Many people have been here and left. They're AWOL. They have not been seen here at the camouflage training. Right, question. Are there any reason why night cream advised to be taken at night? I guess you mean the AFA night cream from Cerule. Okay. Are stem cells and the repair more active at night? Is taking Stem Enhance before sleep more effective too? I don't think so. I think that's just a convention that, like, people that are going to wear cream on their face would wear cream on their face overnight. Perhaps because during the day. Many people that tend to put cream on their face also tend to be the sort of people that have makeup during the day, which I'm glad to see is a trend that seems to be dying out in society now. I think cosmetics in general, number one, don't improve the attractiveness of a person in general. Number two, having your face clogged up with all that shit all day, chemicals and whatever else they put in that stuff. I don't know. Anyway, the night cream, you can wear it at night and you can wear it during the day if you like. I find it's quite heavy though. It does absorb in within an hour or two. But would I necessarily put it on my face and then go out to meet the world? No, because they'd probably all go, what the hell have you got on your face? It's good stuff, is the Cereal Night Cream, by the way. Anyone that hasn't got their head around that yet. It contains the same active ingredient that stimulates stem cells, but instead of the bone marrow stem cells that the tablets will upregulate, this stuff causes the stem cells underneath your skin to come forward. It's all good. Okay, I'm escalating the carnivore fight, am I? My guests are more and more attractive. There you go, Lisa. You're attractive.
Thank you.
Ted is always Ted, of course he is. 123andMe has told Starflower that they have Neanderthal genes. Apparently most of us do have some amount.
Yeah, I heard about
there was
that.
quite a bit of crossover, apparently.
Interesting.
Yeah. Cool. So apparently my disciples are Eddie, Goki, and Face IQ. And Joey Schwartz is my Darth Vader. No, Joey Schwartz is just a young man who I have to take some blame for because I encouraged him. But what I will not take blame for is the fact that his ego got the better of him. And it got to a point within several months of me helping him, training him, encouraging him, that he then thought that he knew more than I did. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, hope you're doing well, Joey. Apparently he's a real estate salesman these days. All right. Please do a reaction critique to Brian Johnson, not of AC/DC. No, I think you mean the longevity guy.
One, yeah.
Since he is the biggest longevity influencer and is criminally miseducating people on many levels, I think that would attract a lot of views. Okay, I'll put that in the bank. I'm also looking at doing some more collaborative reviews of others' videos instead of just me banging on. There's a little thing you can get called View Together or something like that. It's a bit of software that you can both log into, or any number of people can log into. And what it basically does is you can put a video up on the screen, like a YouTube video or whatever else, and play the thing. And each person has a working space bar.
Oh, that's cool. So you can both react.
Yeah, you can pause, make a react. Play.
Awesome.
It'll annoy the hell out of the people that go, you pause every 3 minutes. Why don't you let them finish what they're saying? You're in the wrong place.
That's what people tell me with my YouTube videos. They say you pause it too often.
Yeah, that's what I get to. And I'm like, well, you're in the wrong place. If you just want to hear what somebody else has to say, go and listen to them. I'm here to point out what others have got wrong, and you just do that off the cuff. Well, I do, and clearly you do as well. I hear people all the time say that carbohydrates are the body's preferred energy source, especially for people in the gym. How would you respond to that, Lisa?
So I would first ask, why do you think that carbohydrates are the body's preferred energy source? Because a lot of the times when your body has access, or at least when the brain has access to ketones and carbs, it'll actually choose ketones over carbs. Ketones are more steady than carbs in terms of energy. They don't cause like a crash or a spike. So wouldn't that be more preferred? If it's more stable, it will make your hunger more stable, your blood sugar more stable, and it's just easier to actually, live in ketosis than constantly grazing on carbs.
Yes, absolutely true. Carbs, of course, also generally tend to take priority through oxidative pathways, precisely because of the fact that we have a Randall cycle that does exactly what it's supposed to. One of the reasons why that's in play is precisely because a large amount of glucose floating around is toxic. So use that first. Ketones are not toxic, so they can wait. So a large amount of carbs will override a large amount of ketones, even though they are less energetically favorable than ketones.
And if someone says, why does the body burn carbs first? Just say, like, carbs before ketones. Just ask, well, then why does the body burn alcohol before carbs, you know?
That's right, same deal.
Because it wants to get it out of your body.
Exactly that, correct. Yes, precisely that. And then the whole idea about carbs being required for exercise, especially high intensity exercise, that is based on an argument around the RER, respiratory exchange ratio. Sometimes it's called RQ, the respiratory quotient, depending on exactly what's being measured and how. And what that assessment on someone's expired gas analysis will tell us during exercise is that as intensity increases from rest to maximal on a given person's spectrum, the contribution of carbohydrate being oxidized goes up and the fat goes down. We know that happens. That has no effect on whether or not we require any dietary carbohydrates, because we still don't. Gluconeogenesis is still a thing. And your resting muscle glycogen level for exercise purposes is a training status induced phenomenon. It's nothing to do with your diet, actually. So there's that. Question for me. Okay, I'll answer it then. How do 99% of researchers and readers ignore that studies don't report on cause or effect? Laziness, inadequate training, incompetence, arrogance, Dunning-Kruger, theology, and a desperate desire to support one's belief structure with anything that might potentially do so, even though it doesn't. How's that? Okay. I was fasting, says the Miriam dos Santos. I was fasting 20 hours a day, every single day. Good for you.
Awesome.
I don't really call that fasting myself, personally. My definition of fasting is that a person is fasting once they get to 72 hours without intake. Before that, it's just not eating at the time, really. That's my operational definition. Doesn't have to be anybody else's, except that people do need to understand that here on my channel, anybody who disagrees with me is guilty of hate speech and is a bigot. Isn't that right, Lisa?
Yeah.
Of course it's right, because I said it. I'm kidding. You are actually allowed to disagree with me if you want to. That way we all get to learn something, maybe. I don't know. Okay. Looking for questions. Here is one. Could you talk on the physiology of reactive oxygen species and therefore methylation, and exactly why raising reactive oxygen species will hinder longevity? What specifically will raise reactive oxygen species, comparing the standard diet to the pure carnivore bliss? Okay, there's a lot of threads in that one as well. Once again, let's just completely toss the ball to Lisa without any training or any input from me and just see what she says. And then I'll add anything I feel like I need to.
Are they implying that raising the reactive oxygen species will hinder longevity? Because isn't there just like more oxidative stress on the body? And it's just like,
that's the theory that's being alluded to, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna need help here.
Okay, that's fine. And then the second assertion there is that diet is the thing that will specifically affect one's oxygen species level.
I find that, I think there's like some mechanisms behind specific like linoleic acid and seed oils increasing reactive oxygen species, which you don't get when you're doing carnivore, which is why I think you're so much less prone to like these ROS, and which is also why I think that when you are like doing carnivore diet, you don't burn as much in the sun because your cell membranes are more stable. There's less like reactive oxygen species floating around, so it's like you're much less prone to damage.
Yes, love it. Okay. So a reactive oxygen species is an operational definition, really. It's any chemical species that can be generated by the body or enter into the body, which tends to react with body structures in such a way as to chemically steal or remove electrons from the body structures, thus altering the chemical conformation of those structures, causing them, if they're proteins, to fold slightly differently, causing them to be toxic and pro-inflammatory if they're fat-based, for example. And sometimes, protein-based structures that are out of shape can also be pro-inflammatory as well. This is thought of as a bad thing. What we are generally educated or miseducated to from a very young age is that the way to get what's called antioxidant activity is to get antioxidants from lots of colored vegetables.
I've heard that a lot of the antioxidants in plants actually act as pro-oxidants in humans,
they can be
which
either.
is very interesting.
Yes, exactly, because oxidation and reduction are conjugates, ergo most of these vehicles can go either way up and down those tracks and act as a transfer agent for electrons in either direction. And as such, that's not really an answer. What the answer is to have the redox potential of your body at the right level, which would seem to be best achieved by having the best set of lifestyle habits that would be most conducive to those ends, including but not limited to diet. And actually, antioxidant activity, antioxidant effect, seems to me to be best and most easily achieved by grounding yourself electrically to the earth.
Yeah, really interesting, like the research behind how it, like the electrons will help, reduce the ROS, the free radicals in the body. Yeah.
There's a video on my channel where I cover, I think it's about 19 different published pilot studies, pilot studies, but like mentioning that it's very possible that grounding electrically has a lot of very positive effects.
Yeah. I remember like a year ago, I asked my biology teacher about that, and he said that I was ridiculous for it. And I was like, okay.
According to whom?
Yeah.
On the basis of what?
Yeah.
Fascinating teacher. Please tell me why. Explain yourself if you don't mind.
He couldn't explain anything. He was a terrible teacher.
Crickets. Yeah. Ah, dear. There's this adage that says those that can do and those that can't teach. I don't think it's strictly true, because I used to be a great teacher when I was one. I actually still think of myself as a teacher, even though I'm not being employed directly to teach these days. I think I'm able to get things across in a way that's accessible to various different levels, hopefully. And what's very gratifying for me, a lot of people get annoyed when they hear themselves being repeated by others out there. That's my line, you stole it. You clown, that's exactly what you wanted, wasn't it? To encourage people to think the way you think and explain things the way you do, to make it more on a more broader base, that more people think that way. Anyway, whatever. People's egos. Funny things, aren't they? I hope that answers your question about reactive oxygen species. I think the best way to deal with them is to ground yourself. And the idea that the only place that you can get antioxidants from is either in food or in some supplemental product, no. Absolutely not. For a start, there's a huge suite of antioxidants that your body makes itself out of proteins. They're encoded for in your gene set. A lot of people don't think of that, mainly because it's not taught. It's not really put forward as a thing. Oh, God, we get this one just about every week. Have you ever heard of Aajonus, Lisa?
Yeah, I have. I don't agree with everything he says, but I mean, some things I agree, some things I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much to it.
Hell's Moving Marble thinks that Aajonus is really convincing. Why do you think that?
It's really convincing that
What makes you think that Aajonus is really convincing? Don't know. For those that don't know, for those that have never heard of Aajonus, Aajonus is a sadly now deceased individual who used to be a television actor, who then went and did a Wednesday afternoon certificate in nutrition at some point, set himself up as a nutrition expert and started saying a bunch of crazy stuff to people in a way that apparently was convincing to some people. I was not convinced by almost anything he had to say on any topic, personally. Anyway, there it is. I just wondered why you thought he was convincing. According to whom? On the basis of what? Sort of thing. Question. Do you cite, you mean cite should be spelled C-I?
Yeah.
Yeah, not, Do you cite studies to convince people otherwise in terms of the seed oil argument because they will ask for proof? Or do you talk about human physiology? And yes, people are hard to convince. Okay, so Lisa, what do? Do you tend to cite papers, or do you just say, look, here's physiology, here's how it works in my understanding, but you go and do your own research?
Yeah, I always go for the human physiology route. Like, I'll always try to explain, on a cellular level how seed oils are bad. And then most of the time they'll ask for a study and I'll just tell them to open a biology textbook and then I leave them be.
Yeah. To me, this whole sources, cite your references, shows a huge destitution of comprehension of what that body of literature even is. Most people that have never been involved in it see the body of peer-reviewed literature as some kind of inviolate canon. Anything that's published in the literature is true because it's published and peer-reviewed. My particular argument works quite well on this one. I often say to people that I'm arguing with, so are you suggesting that peer review is the arbiter of veracity, correctness, utility? Is because it's peer reviewed, that makes it actual science and worth taking note of and believing, even though you don't necessarily understand that process yourself? Is that what you're saying to me? To which most people will say, well, yes, I don't have the skills necessarily myself to understand the research, but it's published in the literature, it's peer reviewed by a whole bunch of other scientists, and as such, I'm going to trust that more than I'm going to trust you, is what they say to me. To which I then say this, well, am I credible? To which they'll usually say, because they disagree with me, they will then say, no, I don't think you are credible. I disagree with what you're saying. To which I then turn around and say, well, I've peer reviewed more papers than you've had hot feeds. I think that blows your argument out of the water, doesn't it? At the end of the day, peer review is this. This is the process. Generally, some people do some research that they want to get published. They will send it to a journal, the journal of XYZ. That journal will have an editor. What that journal editor will do is they will have a look at the title of that paper, see what it's about. And then they will farm that paper out to an academic somewhere in the world. Usually it's someone they know, a friend of theirs that's working in academia somewhere that they know is working in that area or loosely connected. And they will say, look, I know you're not getting paid for this. This is not an employment-based thing. It looks good on your CV that you've peer-reviewed a bunch of articles, apparently. How do you feel about reviewing this article? To which the academic then says, sure, okay, fine. And they'll say 6 weeks return time if you don't mind. Then 5.5 weeks later, you'll get an email from that editor saying, hey, listen, that paper I sent you 5.5 weeks ago, it's due in half a week, just to remind you. And then you go, oh, shit, I better look at the thing. Because you're not getting paid for it. It's in the bottom drawer. So you open the bottom drawer and, okay, fine. Or no, God, no. Usually it's, okay, fine. And it gets published. And usually there are 2 reviewers that do exactly the same thing that I've just outlined. Very few reviewers take their role as reviewer remotely seriously. Number 1, because they're not getting paid for it. Number 2, because they don't get the name on the paper for having done so. The only thing they get is peer esteem for being able to say, I reviewed this paper, that paper, and the other paper on their CV. And it's a minor part of a person's academic CV. So if you think for a second that peer review makes something of good value, of good quality, scientifically robust, of utility, because it's been peer reviewed, that is a sign that you have absolutely no idea whatsoever what is done in peer review and in science and in the peer reviewed publications. So coming at someone like me who has reviewed more papers than most people have had hot feet and saying, what are your sources? Just tells me that you have no hope prevailing in an argument with me about anything to do with science. None at all. And I agree with Lisa. I will go absolutely to the known established physiology, the common sense, before I'll go to anything peer-reviewed. It's garbage, all of it. Rubbish is what it is. Great question, and I'm glad you asked it. Yes. Okay. More questions. Best source of fiber on carnivore. Oh, God. So, Lisa, tell us
You
all
don't
about
need
fiber.
any fiber. You
There you
don't
go.
need any fiber on carnivore. It's
That's
that
right,
simple.
not-
I honestly find that when I am doing carnivore, and sometimes I will have like an avocado, I find that actually messes with my digestion a little bit because of its high fiber content. No fiber is the best. You don't need it.
Yep, I agree. Fiber
That's
messes up your
simple,
gut
yeah,
function to some
literally.
level or another. Yep, absolutely. Great answer. Once again, what's your opinion on creatine supplementation, given that it's literally made of the most toxic waste products like coal, tar, limestone, and everyone believes it's healthy, and it's the most studied so-called and essential so-called supplement available? Creatine, go.
Well, at least from the literature that I've read on creatine, I find that, it's not, I think that there's more good than bad that it does for a lot of people. But again, my opinion, that's just how I interpret the studies and how creatine can affect cognitive function. It can help with just like muscles building, recovery. And there was a point where I was taking it when I was going to the gym a lot, and I did feel better and easier to recover. But if you think that it's too toxic for you to take, then don't do it. No one's
Absolutely.
forcing you.
Yep. You're quite right. It is one of the most researched supplemental products available anywhere in the literature. That body of literature is quite equivocal in many different domains as to its utility or otherwise. There's no convincing absolutely this stuff is great or absolutely it's shit. So you can't go either way on that. Also, don't forget that the entire body of peer-reviewed literature is garbage. 90-something% of those papers are not reproducible. There was a study done, I forget by whom and when exactly, so don't ask me. But I saw it published somewhere, and what these people did was they took X number of fairly basically easy to follow research papers, and they reproduced those papers. They did exactly the same thing the original investigators did with the same methodology to see if they got anything like the same answer. 95% of the time it was like, there's absolutely no way that these are the same responses. Not reproducible, ergo of no utility prognostically going forward to any other population. Whoopsie, that's unfortunate. Again, Lisa, sorry, you can't have other friends. Goodness gracious. Good to see you meeting Wellness. Apparently you streamed yesterday.
Yeah, it was
quite
awesome.
the busy bee,
yeah.
streaming all over the place, aren't you, Lisa?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Question. If your job demands movement, but you want to put on muscle for martial arts, does the body just adapt best it can and optimize to be able to move if this is the primary stimulus? Muscle gain is hard. I'm not sure why you would think movement would be deleterious to muscle mass, depending on what kind of movement. Endurance work is counterproductive to hypertrophy. What exactly do you mean? Job means movement. What sort of job? What do you do for a job? Josh, man. Tell us what you do that would be deleterious to muscle. And yes, building muscle is hard. That's why most people don't do it, I think. Anything to add on that, Lisa?
Not really. Yeah.
I need to get a Carnivore Pope hat. I'm not sure about that. I've got the military cap. I've got the berets. I've got a crown even, and I've got a cloak with the whole, dress up like the king thing. Ted's got a crown too. somewhere. We like playing dress up sometimes, just because why not? So low-key, I was thinking that Bart has authority ex cathedra. Anyone who questions the science is a heretic. Yes, that's right. I'm the science, me. I'm safe and effective. You should always trust the science and never question the science. Hate speech, that is. That's obviously a joke. That's the whole thing about science, because questioning the science is how you do science. Anyone that says you can't question the science, this is settled science, is selling you theology, not science, because all science is questionable. All of it. Anyway, question: where did the 80% number come from regarding ruminant animals? Why not more or less? Okay. Do you know, Lisa?
I mean, I think majority or like almost all of a carnivore diet should consist of ruminants, but if you don't think so, then I'd say try it out for yourself, eat more chicken, fish, see how you feel. And for most people, see if you feel good. If you feel better, then keep that. You probably won't. If you do, keep it. If you don't, then eat more ruminants. 80 isn't like a number. It's just majority of your diet should be coming from ruminants just because of the nutrient density and like how we evolved to eat it and the fatty acid composition, everything.
Yeah. Love it. FAFO, basically. I'll tell you where I got it from, though. Nitrogen 14-15 stable isotope testing. That said, that throughout our entire existence on this planet as a species, except for the last 11 or 12,000 years, give or take, that's what we ate. 80% of our so-called calories were in the form of the meat and fat of mostly live ruminant animals. So that's what you should do, I think, because of positive and negative solution pressures, which are a thing. There you go. Bam. See? That's what I mean about, like, I feel gratified when people come up with the right answers out there, because it means that you're out there in society, hopefully spreading the gospel and selling the truth of the bad bald man is the science. And the science should be trusted and never questioned. I demand to be questioned, by the way. That's why I'm actually a scientist. I want to be challenged.
Good.
I'm always throwing it out there. Come and debate me. Most people run away with shit in their pants when I suggest that. What I find generally is the ones that are actually prepared to come and debate me and challenge me are one of two things, or both. One, they just want to get attention for themselves because they don't really have an audience and they know I've got one. So hopefully they think they'll be able to get one by coming on my channel and subjecting themselves to that. Or two, they are very, very stupid indeed. And it's usually both.
Agreed. Yeah.
Very stupid people who want attention. I wish someone with some actual gumption, some actual credibility, some skill in debating, some ability to actually deal with the way I would do that would actually front up to me. They won't. What does that tell you?
They're scared.
One arrogant prick, name of Dr. Terry Simpson, tried it recently. He was completely out of his depth. I was actually quite disappointed. I thought he was going to be, a better challenge. And then since then, all he's done is just absolutely deluge the X platform with large language model AI slop, which he doesn't even bother to read before he posts, because he knows damn well that he's absolutely been slammed by a vastly superior scientific mind, entity, and everything else, and he's been made to look very silly by himself. Not me, I didn't do it. He did it to himself. Before him, there was another MD with the same sort of mentality about plant forward being the way. I mean, what even is that? Plant forward. What does that mean? Is that code for being a vegan?
Maybe plant-based. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I don't know if anyone saw Face IQ attack Ken Berry. I didn't.
I did.
But what went on there?
Oh, he was just, well, Ken Berry was arguing that dairy should probably only be consumed, up until early adulthood because adults aren't, meant to actually be consuming dairy regularly. And then Face IQ argued against that.
Right. Okay. Okay. All right. It sounds, to be honest, like Face IQ might be clout chasing there. Frankly.
Maybe, yeah.
And Face IQ is still invited to come and do a collaborative video with me. Still, Face IQ. Anytime you like, still. It'll be collaborative. It won't even be like an argument because mostly we agree on most things. Right. If you're fasting for fat loss, do you mean 24 hours plus?
Probably, yeah.
If you do intermittent fasting, you can still eat too much even if you eat a small eating window, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Also, what electrolytes and water would you consume with? Well, we've already answered that one already today.
Yeah.
Your instincts
But
are good
as
on
for
that.
the fasting, I'd say the whole point of fasting for fat loss is that you force your body to tap into its own fat stores, which means you have to give your digestive system time to rest and digest. So
3 days.
to rest, yeah. So I know not everyone can do 3 days, but I'd say definitely like at least 36 hours. Give it like 1 to 2 days of just like not eating anything. If you can do 3 days, go ahead. But it's just you can't just do intermittent fasting and then fit all of your food intake in a window and then expect to drop the weight because you want to force your body into tapping into its own fat stores, not the fat that you eat.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, look, I don't even refer to this thing that people call intermittent fasting, which is just eating in an eating window during the day, eating once a day. To me, that is not fasting.
That's just eating.
I mean, by definition, it is, because anytime you're not eating, you're fasting at that time. I'm
I've
fasting
been
right
fasting
now.
for an hour.
Yeah, right. But to me, fasting, actual effective body useful fasting starts at about 3 days. And I usually suggest that a sensible period of time to fast is somewhere between 3 and 7 days. I don't suggest longer than that, except in extreme cases, case by case. So that's just me, though. I wanted to check, Lisa, how are you for time?
I'm good for time. I'm not
excellent.
like
Me too.
Yeah.
So let's answer some more questions. Love it. Apparently the average European is 2 or 3% Neanderthal.
Interesting.
Okay.
Cool.
Somebody mentioning Lush Me Dairy Girl. She was funny. She's another one that tried to come and debate me once. Airhead.
I haven't heard of her.
You'll only find that one on my Odyssey channel. I don't think it's on YouTube
I'll check
anymore.
it out.
Yeah. Lush Me Dairy Girl, she was calling herself, and probably still is.
What was her argument? What was her stance?
That humans should live on dairy alone and nothing else. And it started that way, and it was like, okay, that's a bit crazy. Let's talk about the logic behind that. And it was kind of like well-mannered. Well, it was a good-natured debate, but she just got progressively more and more ridiculous.
She was deficient.
She made more and more outlandish. Yeah, exactly.
Her B12 was not up.
Yeah,
iron deficient, everything.
And it quickly devolved to a point where it's like, oh, this is pointless. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, so there you go. How would you go about skincare?
Rinse face, just water.
Rinse face with just water. You know she does. She does shorts on her channel about that's what she does, surely. And if you're not watching Lisa's channel, where can they watch your channel on YouTube's and Instagram?
Yes, YouTube, Instagram at Lisa's Life 360.
There you go.
Yeah. Literally just water. That's what I use. I don't use soap. Moisturizer. Once every few days, I'll put tallow, but that's it. That's it. If you've been living in a polluted environment, like a smoky room.
You wouldn't do that, would you?
Yeah, I don't really know about that.
Okay. Brian Johnson reminds me of a Star Trek cyborg. He's a bit like Commander Data in appearance, perhaps.
Yeah. He looks very like not human, Brian Johnson.
Hello, Joff. How are you, mate? Good to see you.
Hello.
Good to see you. $2 from Bernard Oguerrero 9368. And yes, RIP Chuck Norris. I never thought Chuck Norris would pass on. I thought he would be immortal, personally. But there you go. I knew he wasn't going to be, but there it is. Tallow is a great moisturizer.
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
told.
Love it.
Tim does it too. If I'm going to put anything on my face, I tend to put the Cerule night cream on because I find that really good. But I get it with the tallow. Tallow is a bit kind of, that's weird. Kind of slimy and whatever. I literally have the best debate style, apparently. Bring the textbooks while in real time Lame Norton is saying he's an imbecile. Well, it's really funny for Lame Norton to suggest that I'm an imbecile, if that's what you're implying, because Lame Norton can't even get first principles right. Like he, on a video, there's a short on my channel, it's called Lame Norton is a Genius or something like that. It's less than a minute, but it's basically Lame Norton explaining to us the first law of thermodynamics, except what he said was not the first law of thermodynamics at all. Not only was it not the first law of thermodynamics that he said was, what he said was factually incorrect.
Oh.
Because what he said was that the first law of thermodynamics indicates that mass is conserved. Well, no, the first law of thermodynamics says no such thing, in fact. And secondly, mass is not conserved. So good, Lame, good, awesome. Hello, Caspar. Why are people's names all so incomprehensible on YouTube's? I don't know. Anyway, hello, nice to meet you. I eat mostly meat and some eggs, okay, and dairy here and there, fine. And I haven't gotten sick in 8 months. It's amazing how that works, isn't it? I used to get sick on every season change. Yep, me too. I used to have dreadful chest infections every year. Not anymore. Yes. Question. How do I explain to a new carnivore eater when someone eating carnivore doesn't get enough fat in their diet? What would you say, Lisa, to someone that's a new carnivore eater that you think is probably not eating enough fat?
You have to explain to them how, since your body isn't consuming carbohydrates, its alternate fuel source will be fats, and that if you don't eat a substantial amount, it will not be able to actually, produce enough energy to actually keep you feeling good and energized throughout the day. So you have to really be upping that fat and eating more than probably like a person ever has in their life, because that's your new energy source.
Yep, absolutely. It's very important that you get enough energy in the form of fat, because if you don't, among other things, you will probably tend to eat more protein than you should, which will encourage a bit of supply-driven gluconeogenesis, which can lead to some sugar regulation issues, hormonal issues, mood issues, etc. Yeah. So, not really a Dr. Paul Salad. I don't know who Bart Kay is, and Sean Baker both cite studies. I know they do. And both of those individuals get them wrong about how they interpret them. I have some respect for Sean Baker, quite rightly. I have no respect for Paul Salad. I don't know a damn thing.
He cited a study from Coca-Cola, Paul Saladino, about why fruit juice, I think, is beneficial, or fructose is good for you.
Absolutely. And Paul Saladino will often cite a study and say, this study absolutely proves X, Y, or Z, despite the fact that it absolutely proves no such thing. And often what he says the study shows is the exact opposite of what the study actually does.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. Paul Saladino is scientifically illiterate and should not comment on what's published in the science at all. Sean is better, but Sean is still not quite right, because he still makes cause and effect statements by way of saying this study talks about risk. The word risk is in the paper. It's published in the paper. The authors have used the word risk. That doesn't mean the paper is capable of informing on risk. That's the word they chose to use. It's not correct scientifically. It's not okay. And again, Sean Baker, I don't think should be doing that, frankly, because this usually loses me friends, but I don't actually care. If you yourself have never published a peer-reviewed publication as first author in your own name, at least one, you have no business citing the literature. None at all. Because you don't know how it's put together. You don't know what goes into that. You do not understand that process. You're a numpty. It's you know, a lot of people say, well, that's a bit elitist. I don't care. It's like me saying I'm a gynecologist, no experience. I'll take a look at it for you, though. It's ridiculous. I'm not a gynecologist. And those two individuals are not scientists. Anyway, rant over. There it is. I think we've dealt with that one, but let's deal with it again. Is fiber required?
No.
Correct. It is not. There you go. There's agreement. Love it. There's a scientific consensus, therefore. Question. I've been carnivore 2 years right now. Good for you. Keep going. I thought I had lost all body odor. My wife says that I'm just nose blind. Can you settle this for us? Well, I don't know. I can't smell you. Can you smell them?
No.
No, you must be right. Except there's another little bit of the law of the universe that you might not understand, and that is whatever the wife says is correct. Because she said it. That's how it works, isn't it, Ted? Yes. Yes, well, you're going to do your thing. Good boy. Air Marshal Peter Sawyer of the Meat Militia. Good to see you, mate. You are one of those people who has not been seen here at the camouflage training. You are AWOL, son. There is work to do here in Pimbatia, still. And he's off gallivanting around the world, flying jet planes around. Big Airbuses. Poor excuse, really, isn't it? How is that more important than what's going on in Pimbatia, Mr. Sawyer? Goodness gracious. Anyway, thank you for the $30.99 Australian Pacific pesos. We love those. Question for Lisa. Did you press Enzo about carbs? Who's Enzo? Tell us more.
It's like this other health creator. No, I did not press him about carbs. The collab it was good. We made content, but I think I'm not going to get involved in his personal diet because he says that he feels better with it. He lives in a tropical climate. He gets access to the sun. He can deal with fructose and a little bit of carbohydrates better than me, who lives in the cold 8 months out of the year can. He seems like he's doing great. He's a healthy guy. So if he has like that amount of carbs in his diet, who am I to tell him otherwise?
Love it. That's fine. Yep. Wait 10 years. See what happens.
Yeah.
FAFO. Yeah. Thanks for the $30. That'll build a lot of wall. Appreciate it though. For those that don't get that joke, Pete obviously gets that joke because he's been here on the farm doing farm work here. We had some very serious flooding when the stream that borders our property overflowed twice in 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
In June and July of last year, to the point where it was biblical. Like, you know, the amount of water that went through our property and just smashed us was incredible. And so we were all like, oh, we're going to build a wall. It's going to be a great wall, the best wall ever. It's going to be a fantastic wall. All the best ingredients are going into the wall. And the vegans are going to pay for it. And Peter's going to pay for it too. One way or another, sunshine. AWOL, goodness gracious. You're going to get thrashed by Ted when you get back here. He's going to give you a hiding. It's Ted. Goodness gracious. $2. We love it. Thank you. That'll build us some more wall. We'll get a brick for $2 or something. All fruits and vegetables are transgender, are they? Very good. Well, who am I to say they're not? Can I give you a rundown on the raw products and how they can be paired with a carnivore diet, especially for the younger carnivores under 35? Yes, absolutely. Many people who are fit, young, and beautiful say, why do I need this product? I'm fit, young, and beautiful. To which my answer is, well, how long would you like that situation to continue? Oh, yes, I've got my whole life in front of me, though. I don't mind aging. That's normal. Well, that's what I thought when I was fit, young, and beautiful. What happens, though, is the longer you live, the quicker every year ticks by. Why does that happen? It's not because time speeds up. It doesn't. It's because a year is viewed as a portion of your lifespan so far. So when you're 5 years old, 1 year is like a large proportion of that, and it seems like forever because your view of forever is 5 years. When you're in your mid-50s nearly, a year is, and then there's another one and another one, and Jesus, where are all these years going? Your muscles wave a white flag and give out, your hair falls out, you get old and decrepit, you start eating crap. Not all of those things are necessary, but a lot of those things start happening. And the way to counteract some of those things and slow some of those things down and give yourselves the best chance of your body renewing and repairing itself is by taking cereal products, which are designed to do that. They are designed to encourage your natural renewal and repair process of adult stem cell release, Stem Enhance Ultra. Reactive is an anti-inflammatory that works on both the LOX and COX pro-inflammatory pathways, tones down chronic inflammation. And Plasma Flow is a blood flow optimizer, which breaks down fibrin deposits in your microvasculature so that blood and other formed elements like stem cells can get to where they need to be. So that's the holy triumvirate of the three products, which you'll see over my right shoulder as you look at them on the screen right now. There they are, there, over there. See? Aren't they lovely? You can get them from BKAY Nutrition.cerule.com. Your options are to pay for them as a retail customer, which is fine, or to not pay for them by being an IBO member, which is an independent business owner, a distributor, who can on-sell the products if you want to. And you set up 3 customers on a wellness pack of those 3 products, those ones, and then the company will send you yours every month for free. I suggest that's the best way to go. So that's what the products are. That's what they do. That's who needs them. Absolutely everybody. Your peak of adult stem cell renewal and repair in your body is about age 18, Lisa. So right about now for you. Every year after now, you will release fewer and fewer and fewer adult stem cells unless you do something about changing that situation. And it's much easier for the body to maintain what it has than to repair and go back and fix stuff that's already messed up. So I wish this product existed and I knew about it when I was 18. Of course, when I was 18, I was indestructible and didn't need that stuff anyway, and I wouldn't have taken it perhaps because I knew everything and I was as arrogant as hell as a young man. People think I'm arrogant now. You've got no idea. Ask my mum, she'll tell you. So yes, that's what they are. They are stem cell release agent, an anti-inflammatory, and a blood flow optimizer. There's no nutritional value in any of it. They're not nutritional supplements. They're nutraceutical in nature. They have a specific effect. Is it a worthwhile effect? You bet. Can we make any therapeutic claims? No, we're not allowed to do that. The FDA says no, we can't. Okay, fine. All right, there you go. Any questions on that, Lisa? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool. Very good. Hello from Bali. Sorry I'm late. Yes, well, you'll have to report to Ted after class down the back, and there'll be a bit of... Don't come late to class. Goodness gracious. You were not seen at the camouflage training. Welcome to the show. Yes, you will have to see Ted after class. What is better, 1 pound of pork cooked in its own fat or 12 eggs cooked in beef tallow? That's not really a question we can answer, is it?
Better in terms of what? I think that they're both okay. If you find that you process pork, okay, because I know some people feel, I don't know, they don't like it that much. If you like it, then eat it and also have eggs, you know, one isn't better than the other. Have both of them different days. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Very good. Question for me. Andrew saw my live with Marcus. Good. Why do you think that cooked is better? Apparently you didn't pay attention when you saw my live with Marcus, because I did not say that. I did not say anything remotely similar to that. I said, I prefer cooked. I can't stomach raw. My instinct is not to eat raw. I don't like raw meat. I don't want to. I didn't say cooked is better. Do you actually think that well done is healthier than blue rare? both are equally available in terms of nutrients to subserve our needs, apparently. How do I know that? Well, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of carnivores who eat nothing but cooked meat for decades at a time. This whole, raw is the only way to go thing, it's an extreme attitude. Look, in any area of life that you go, there are always those who want to be the most extreme version of. That's their whole tagline, their whole hook line, if you like. I mean, at the end of the day, people have to have some kind of hook to get people to watch their videos. I understand that. Mine is, depending on who I'm talking with at the time, obviously right now I'm not going to do that for obvious reasons. My normal behavior is to be rude, abrasive, curse my head off, etc. Some people like to be the most extreme version of, like Goatus / Spherier, who, is, that's his thing, is to be he was the most extreme vegan. Now he's decided to be, for the last X number of years, he's decided carnivore is the way to go. So he has to be the most extreme version of that that's possible. Fit, young, attractive young people don't have to have any kind of gimmicks. They just have to be fit, young, and attractive and say sensible things. So you've got it made, Lisa. There you go. Take your Cerul, though, otherwise it'll fade in years to come. That's not a therapeutic claim, because we're not allowed to do that. $2. Love it. For the science. Okay. And we have $5 Australian from Joff. Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome for all the information. Andrew never realized how bad fiber is until he did a month lion and another carnivore, then added fruits and vegetables. Yeah. That's how you find out. FAFO. You'll learn. Those of you that need to learn, you will at some point. Question. I went to a very rich part of London the other day. Good for you. Couldn't help notice the abundance of extremely healthy, tall, robust people. Large, broad jaws, intelligent look, perfect skin. Makes me wonder. Okay. You see how that's not a question?
Yeah.
Did you notice that? I did.
I did,
There's no question there. Yeah, there's no question there.
Fortunately, I don't know what to answer here. Yeah.
No, neither do I. Okay, that's what you saw. That's your experience. It must be right. $5 more. Lovely. If you give a malnourished kid a slice of pizza, you'll be able to sell pizza pills at $95.99 per month. Pizza pills. Given your stance on scientific integrity, how many papers did you reject after scrutiny? More than I didn't. I mean, what the three options when you are a peer reviewer are: accept it as written, go ahead; reject it outright, no, this absolutely is not publishable; or yes, okay, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. Most of my responses were at least 10 to 12 yes, okay, buts. A list of at least 10 to 12 things that needed tidying up. Almost never did I return a paper saying, yes, absolutely, publish this as written. And possibly 25% of the time, I would just say, no, you can't publish that. It's rubbish. It's absolute garbage. So that's about what it was. Other academics have other ratios, I'm sure. Okay, training questions. Is low frequency single set training suboptimal? My recovery has been very slow and volume very low. What do you think about that, Lisa?
Low frequency single set just like per exercise?
I guess. One set per muscle group or one set per exercise. And low frequency would mean once a week or less, maybe.
If recovery is slow, then I'm not sure if that's like because of the training.
Doesn't sound like it if you're doing low frequency and only
Yeah.
one set. It sounds like there's another issue going on there.
Yeah, I
Andrew.
think there's like something in the background.
You should probably
Maybe
talk. Yeah.
is if you feel like your energy is low, I'd say maybe try upping the fat, because
There you
usually
go.
when I
That might
feel
help.
low on energy or recovery is slow, it's because it's either just like like accidental undereating in general or just fat specifically.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are a whole bunch. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that could be going on there, Andrew. Perhaps you should talk to me in the background, and we'll see if we can get to the bottom of it.
I do think that I'm running short on time right now because I do have to go soon, or and get. But
cool. Just sing out whenever you need to, really, and we can excuse you from class. Yeah.
It was wonderful to be here, though. I love always doing the Q&As and everything.
We love having you here.
Yeah, but
you know, what you have to say is worth hearing. It's sensible, and we want to encourage young people with sensible things to say those things. And of course, it's all in the safe environment of having an experienced academic here who can tidy up anything that needs it.
Yeah, perfect.
And really, there's been very little that you've said that needs tidying up. I found that's why I haven't actually corrected you on anything, because you've been right as far as I'm concerned. So
I didn't know I knew so much.
Well, there you go. It's probably because you've been one of those people who has had such poor judgment as to watch a lot of my videos, it would seem. Right. Apparently there's another J failed man video where he says fat can cause glycation. Well, of course it can't. And the hint is in the name of the thing. Glycation. It's not called fattiation, is it?
Yeah.
It's called glycation. So basically, yeah, Feldman is another one of these imbeciles with Dunning-Kruger dripping from every pore. He thinks he's smart and clever and intelligent, and he thinks he knows all about biochemistry. No. He's an absolute buffhead. Yeah.
Like most
debates require moderation. Yes, if you're doing a organized competitive debate where there's going to be a winner decided on points or whatever, yes, absolutely. When I talk about debates on my channel, what I'm really talking about is a debate style argument with someone who takes an antithetical view to what I take. So like, I'll invite a vegan to come and debate me about veganity. I really mean an argument. Come and have an argument with me. Yep. And no, that doesn't need moderating. That's the worst thing you can do, actually. I did it once with when I had Malnutrition by Victoria on the channel. We had DC Dave was moderating, and yeah, I wouldn't necessarily do that again. Not because of anything Dave did, but because any moderator is going to try and moderate, and I actually don't want to be moderated. Thank you. I want to ride roughshod over the person who's antithetical to me.
Yeah, understandable.
What if you went back in time to when you were a professor? I still am. I just aren't working in that anymore. It's a lifelong title. Just like I'm a lord in the English system of lords. That's a lifelong title as well. Just like I'm entitled to use, well, any of the titles that I use variously from time to time. They're all legal titles. They're all lifelong titles. I'm a retired professor. That doesn't mean I'm not one anymore. Anyway, yes. If you went back to in time when you were a professor, yes. It's the first day of term, yes. You have to meet your new first-year undergrad. Okay. In the class is Cole Robinson and Hench Herbivore. How to proceed? Dear, oh dear. I don't know how I'd respond to that. If I had a class of 2, or if there were just 2 in my class who happened to be those 2. Yeah. Yes. All right. You're not wrong. That's correct. However, that's not a full statement with full information that's of any utility to anybody, and it doesn't get at the nuance. Isolated is a term that has a scientific operational definition, and you're quite correct. Viruses have not been isolated. You're not correct in saying they have not been seen. Yes, they have. Under electron microscopes, they have absolutely been seen. So you're partly right and partly wrong.
Let's do Thank you.
Thank you for a great show. Thank you for being here. Appreciate the money. All right. Oh, $49.99. There we go. Thanks for your insights. How are you going for time now? Are we still pushing it?
I think I have to start getting going. I have to.
All right. Let's let you do that. We don't want to hold you up.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. We do
I'll be
appreciate
back
you.
probably, yes. Sometime,
Love to have you
hopefully
back.
soon. Yes, of course.
Awesome. Just book it in my calendar. You know how
Of
it
course.
works.
Yeah. By now I do. Well, thank
book it
you,
in to suit
everyone.
yourself. And yeah, great to have you here.
See you
And
guys.
just a reminder that it's at Lisa's Life 360 on both YouTube and Instagram. Go and sub to at Lisa's Life.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll do that after the show. All right, Lisa.
Okay, I'll see you. Thank you. Bye.
All right, thank you. Ciao. Right, so there it is. Question. Same doctors say that fruits and vegetables are basic and remineralize the body. Is that true? No, it isn't. Absolutely false. I guess that is a follow-on from that question. We should have had them in the other order. Why doctors usually say that animal products create acidosis? That's absolute nonsense. They do no such thing. Rubbish. Then you're talking about James DeNiccoli, no idea. James DeNiccoli, no nuts. Bart K is wrong. Bart K is wrong. No, Bart K is not wrong. James DeNiccoli Antonio does not understand basic physics, basic chemistry, excuse me, or any of that. Oh God, it's too hard on my voice to do James DeNiccoli Antonio. Ah. Right, I'm over it. Wrong. False. Completely false. Okay. Right, last question for the day. You said in a previous video that going straight to carnivore is wrong if we come from a standard diet, and that you should, what should we do then? Slowly ramp to stop eating garbage, but a little bit on, yes. 6 to 8 weeks, take your time, change your diet slowly, don't change your diet markedly overnight from anything to anything else. That will tend to cause a likelihood of there being some gastric upset, which can set you back months and months, because it can be really quite serious. Don't do that. Give your body a chance to adapt to a changing nutritional setup slowly. All right, there it is. Okay, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for the money, those of you who contributed some money. Thanks for the questions, those who contributed questions. Thanks to Lisa for her contribution, for her knowledge and her maturity around the whole thing. It's been good, and I'd love to have her back again. Of course, you guys need to let me know that you want to see her back again, in which case make a comment under this video, both here in the chat and also in the comments under this video later on when it becomes a pre-recorded video, which will appear on the channel as something that happened in the past. Okay, share it out to your social media feeds as well, so that people get to see that we exist. Yeah, and basically shill for us, because nobody else will. All right, join us next time when probably someone will be wrong on interwebs or something like that. And it will probably be someone like, I don't know, Paul Sellard, I don't know dick about fuck, or James DeNiccoli, no ideas, or someone like that. Because there's a lot of it going around, this arrogance and ignorance that a lot of these people have. All right, see you next time. Ciao for now.